Good morning. Today we'll start with engine emissions and their control. The topic which we'll discuss today is hydrocarbon emissions from CI engine. Because CI engine operate with an overall fuel in equivalence ratio, CI engines have only about 1/5 of hydrocarbon emissions as compared to SI engine. The components in diesel fuel have higher molecular weights on average than those in gasoline blend. So whatever diesel fuel, they are longer molecule chain, and this results in higher boiling and condensing temperatures. Therefore, soot formation is more in case of compression ignition engine because they are long chains. So definitely the amount of unburnt, you can say, which will forms particles, which is called soot particle, is more. Some hydrocarbon particles condense on the surface of solid carbon soot that is generated during combustion. Most of the soot particle will burn as the mixing continues and the combustion process produces. Only a small percentage of original carbon soot that is formed comes out of the cylinder. The hydrocarbon components condensed on the surface of carbon particles, in addition to the solid carbon particles themselves, contribute to hydrocarbon emissions of the engine. In general, a CI engine has combustion efficiency of about 98%, which is the highest. This means that only 2% of hydrocarbon fuel being emitted. Because of non-homogeneity of fuel-air mixture, some local spots in combustion chamber will be too lean to combust properly. Other spots may be too rich with not enough oxygen to burn all the fuel. With undermixing, some fuel particles in fuel-rich zones never act due to lack of oxygen. In fuel-lean zones, combustion is limited and some fuel does not get burned with overmixing. So it is important that injectors, there is one term that we'll discuss here. It is important that injectors be constructed such that when injection stops, there is no dribbling. So dribbling is a process when you close the injector, still fuel drops from the injector outlet will come out and enter into the cylinder. So they will remain as unatomized fuel. However, a small amount of liquid fuel will be trapped on the tip of the nozzle. This very small volume of fuel is called sac volume. Its size depending on the nozzle design. This sac volume of liquid fuel evaporates very slowly because it is surrounded by a rich zone. Once the injector nozzle closes, there is no pressure pushing it into the cylinder. Some of this fuel does not evaporate until combustion has stopped, and this increases hydrocarbon emissions. CI engines also have hydrocarbon emissions for some of the same reason as SI engines do. Wall deposit absorption, oil film absorption, and ceramic volume. The same reason as we had discussed in SI engine. Next is your carbon monoxide emission. Up to here we had discussed about hydrocarbon emissions. We now will discuss about the carbon monoxide emission. Carbon monoxide is a colorless gas, odorless gas, but it is a poisonous. When we will inhale the carbon monoxide gas, it will attach with the hemoglobin and it can lead to the cause of death. It is generated in an engine when it is operated with a very fuel rich equivalence ratio as shown in figure 14.1 we had discussed earlier. When there is not enough oxygen to convert all the carbon to carbon dioxide, some fuel does not get burned and some carbon ends up carbon monoxide. Typically, the exhaust of a SI engine will be about 0.2 to 5% carbon monoxide. Not only carbon monoxide considered as undesirable emission, but it is also represents lost chemical energy. You can see here, carbon monoxide can react with oxygen, it can form CO2 plus heat. So this amount of heat we had lost if there are unburnt, you can say partial oxidation of carbon. So this much amount of heat we will lost. Maximum carbon monoxide is generated when engine is runs on rich. Rich mixture means that there is no sufficient supply of oxygen, and we use rich mixture during accelerating and starting. Even when the intake air fuel mixture is stoichiometric or lean, some carbon monoxide will be generated in the engine. The reason for this is poor mixing and local rich regions and incomplete combustion. A well-designed SI engine operating under ideal conditions can have a exhaust mole fraction of carbon monoxide as low as 0.001. So it depends on the engine design and other factors also lead to the lesser production of carbon monoxides. The next is oxides of nitrogen. The next two are oxides of nitrogen, nitrogen oxides. Exhaust gases of an engine can have up to 2000 particle per million of oxides of nitrogen. Most of them will be nitrogen oxide with a small amount of nitrogen dioxide. There will be also be traces of other nitrogen oxygen combinations. These all are grouped together as NOx, with X representing some suitable number. NOx is very undesirable. Regulation to reduce NOx emissions continue to be more and more stringent year by year. Released NOx reactions in the atmosphere to form ozone and is one of the major causes of photochemical smoke. NOx is created mostly from nitrogen in the air. Nitrogen can also be found in the fuel blends. Further, fuel may contain trace amounts of ammonia, nitrogen carbon and HCN, but this would contribute only to minor degrees. So these are the reactions in which you can say NOx is produced. When oxygen reacts with nitrogen, it will form nitrogen monoxide plus molecule of nitrogen. Nitrogen can directly react with oxygen to form nitrogen monoxide plus a single molecule of a single atom of oxygen. Nitrogen can react with, you can say, OH negative ion to form nitrogen oxide plus H ion. Nitrogen oxide in turn can further react to form nitrogen oxide by various means, including, you can say, nitrogen monoxide can react with water to form NO2 plus water, and it can also nitrogen oxide monoxide further react with oxygen to form nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. At low temperature, atmospheric nitrogen exists as a stable diabatic molecule. Therefore, only very small trace amounts of oxides of nitrogen are found. However, at very high temperatures that occur in combustion chamber of an engine, some diatomic nitrogen breaks down to monoatomic nitrogen, which is reactive. So nitrogen can be converted into single diatomic to monatomic. It may be noted that the chemical equilibrium constant for equation 14.7 is highly dependent on temperature. Significant of nitrogen is generated in the temperature range of 25 into 3000 Kelvin, means higher temperature can lead to the formation of the monatomic gas. Other gases that are stable at low temperature but become reactive and contribute to the formation of the nitrogen dioxide, that is oxygen. Oxygen also becomes stable at higher temperature, and water also break into its you can say OH negative and hydrogen single molecule atom. If one goes a little deep into combustion chemistry, it can be understood all react much further to right as high combustion chamber temperature reached. Means if the temperature is higher, so these products will go, these reactants will go to produce these products, so they will become monatomic. The higher the combustion reaction temperatures, the more diatomic nitrogen will dissociate and monatomic nitrogen, and more NOx will be formed. At low temperatures, very little NOx is created. Although maximum flare temperature will occur at stoichiometric air fuel ratio, but at equivalence ratio of 0.95, the NOx formation is maximum. At this condition, flame temperature is very high, and in addition there is excess of oxygen that can combine with nitrogen to form various oxides. Figure 40.5 shows NOx versus time relationship. Here in this diagram you can see here. So this is time in meter, you can say time in given. So this is your combustion time and this is concentration of NOx. You can see if the combustion time increases, the amount of NOx production is more. We can understand in this way. NOx is reduced in modern engines with fast burning combustion chambers. The amount of NOx generated also depends on the location of spark plug within combustion chamber. The highest concentration is formed around the spark plug where the highest temperature occurs. Figure 40.6 shows how NOx can be correlated with ignition timing. If a spark is advanced, the cylinder temperature will increase and more NOx will be produced because compression engines have higher compression ratios and higher temperatures. So they divided combustion chambers and indirect tend to generate higher levels of NOx. You can see in this figure 14.6 generation of NOx in SI engine as a function of spark timing. So this is your spark timing advance in degree before top dead center, and this is the mole fraction of NOx emissions. You can see we have taken two readings for equivalence ratio 0.95 and 1. It is clear indication the more the spark advance, the higher is the value of NOx, because when you give the spark advance, the chances of the higher temperature in the cylinder are more, and that you can see at 10 degree spark advance NOx is approximately 0.3, and at 40 degree spark advance it is around 0.1, and at 50 degree spark advance before top dead center it is around 0.3, mole fraction of NOx in exhaust by percentage. So this is directly related to the spark timing advance. The next is your photochemical smoke, which is also called London smoke, which was a big problem for automobile engines emissions. NOx is one of the primary causes of photochemical smoke, which has become a major problem in many large cities of the world. Smoke is formed by photochemical reaction of automobile exhaust and atmospheric air in the presence of sunlight. NO2 decomposes into NOx and nitrogen monoxide and monatomic oxygen. So nitrogen oxide will take energy from sunlight. It will form nitrogen monoxide plus oxygen plus smoke, and this oxygen further this monatomic oxygen further acts with oxygen to form ozone. Monatomic oxygen is highly reactive and initiates a number of different reactions, one of which is formation of ozone. Ground level ozone is harmful to lungs and other biological tissue. It is harmful to plants and trees and causes very heavy crop loss each year. Damage is also caused through reaction with rubber, plastic and other materials. Ozone also results from atmospheric reactions with other engine emissions such as hydrocarbon, aldehydes and other oxide of nitrogens. Next is your particulates. The exhaust CI engine contains solid carbon soot particles that are generated in fuel-rich zones within the cylinder during combustion. These are seen as exhaust smoke and cause an undesirable odor pollution. Maximum density of particle emissions occur when engine is under load at a wide open throttle. At this condition, maximum fuel is injected to supply maximum power, resulting in a rich mixture and pure fuel economy. This can be seen in heavy exhaust smoke emitted when a truck or railroad locomotive accelerates up a hill or from a top. You can see at the exhaust tailpipe of vehicles, when they suddenly accelerate, they will produce soot particles. Soot particles are clusters of solid carbon spheres. These spheres are diameters from 9 nanometer to 90 nanometer, but most of them are within the range of 50 to 30 nanometer. Nanometer is 10 to the power 9 meter. These the spheres are solid carbon with hydrocarbon and traces of other components. A single soot particle may contain up to 5,000 carbon spheres. You can see this chemical reaction. Carbon spheres are generated in combustion chamber in the rich fuel zones when there is not enough oxygen. So in the absence of oxygen, what will happen? You have this carbon particles here. Does the turbulence and mass motion continue to mix the components in the combustion chamber? Most of these particles find sufficient oxygen to further react and convert it to CO2. If there is a turbulence in the chamber because of a swirl motion and because of the combustion, and due to that turbulence, these particles will further react with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. So more than 90 to 95% of carbon particles originally generated here will convert to CO2 and they never come as carbon particles. Apart from major emissions like hydrocarbon, carbon dioxide and nitrous oxides, there are other emissions like aldehydes. A major emission problem when alcohol fuel is used is generation of aldehydes and eye and respiratory irritant. These have the chemical formula of R, denotes various chemical radicals. So this is your free radical. This is the product of incomplete combustion and would be the major problem if as much alcohol fuel were used presently as gasoline. Next pollutant is your sulfur. Sulfur, you can say it is it will form SO2 and SO3. Unleaded gasoline generally contains 150 to 500 parts per million of sulfur, and diesel will contain much higher, 1500 parts per million by weight. So you can say hydrogen will react with the sulfur to form hydrosulfide. Oxygen also reacts with sulfur to form SO2, and SO2 further reacts to form SO3. Now this SO3 further reacts with water to form your sulfuric acid. So this is the problem here. So this acid product produced is not good for human beings as well as the environment. So many countries have restricted their amount of sulfur allowed in the fuel. So next is your pollutant is your lead. The lead was additive. It is a tetraethyl lead. Petrol was used before 1980s, but now it is obsolete. We don't use it nowadays. Leaded gasoline contains about 0.50 gram per liter of lead in the fuel. 10 to 15% of it gets exhausted out with the other combustion products. Phosphorus, this is the one of the more polluted. Small amounts of phosphorus are emitted in the engine exhaust. These come from impurities in the air and small amounts found in some fuel blends and lubricating oil. So this is up to here about the pollutants. Like this video, subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching this video.